everyone. Amazing work done by people here. It's just, I used to think I'm one of those who've done a lot in this field, but once I'm here, it's like I've done minuscule. But anyway, we'll talk about it. The planet doesn't need saving. It'll manage itself. It's us who need saving. And that's why the work that we've done is all about that. I'll start with a couple of pictures. I think you've seen a few. These are more taken in India or Asia or thereabout. Real pictures. It's happening somewhere in the world right now. This maybe not. This was a time when masks were not in fashion. And it's happening because of industrial pollution, of course, right? But a large part of this is happening because of vehicular pollution. It's clear. Vehicles do pollute. And I'll start by giving you some hard facts. I think it's important to internalize some of these facts. 2.6 million people lose their lives every year in our country because of poor air quality. 2.6 million, the Lancet report 2022. 25% of that is attributed to road transport. Again, fact, which means 5 to 6 lakh people lose their lives every year in India alone because of vehicular pollution. When 1 lakh people died of COVID, unfortunately, there was a national lockdown. Put that in context. 5 to 6 lakh every year have and will continue to. Has there been a national lockdown? Will there be one? I doubt. Something has to be done, and it has to be done on a war footing. The sad part, all this is happening when the penetration of vehicles in our country is all of about 22 vehicles per 1,000 people. I've given a list of some other countries. Look at China, look at US and the other countries, much larger penetrations. 5 to 6 lakh, 22 vehicles per 1,000. I looked at a list of 188 countries. India is 34, and trust me, guys, the countries below India, most of them I hadn't even heard of, literally. Number of vehicles are going to increase very rapidly. Call it because of GDP growth, call it because of comfort, call it because of the number of people in our country and the more comfort they're getting. It might be because of the highways we're building, very good roads. There was a time when we used to fly or do all kinds of things. Today, we really talk about, okay, let's take a road trip. It's happening today. 27 kilometers of highways being built in our country every day. And this is not just India. India is an archetype for the entire emerging market. The emerging market shown in green and yellow. It's the southern part of our planet. No one talks about this. But this is where most of the growth in automobiles is happening. I'm sorry, this is techie. I'm a Ph.D. in computer science. I don't know much about automobiles, but this is something that we are trying to pursue to make things better. You've seen this slide, time for disruptive change to happen. Balki, you introduced the slide, I've just put it together. 1900 and 1913, 13 years later, one motorized car, one horse-driven carriage. You've already seen that in Balki, but this happened in India. Disruptive changes happen. They happen all the time. There was a time when we used to queue in front of a PCO booth. Today, everyone has a cell phone. Disruptive change do happen. I think it's time for disruptive change to happen in our country. And what kind of change am I talking about? I'm talking about electrification of road transport. And the reason why I gave this is because a lot of governments are coming together. They're pushing, all kinds of emission knobs have been created. We created Altigreen to start looking at this space in India. Back in 2012, EVs in India showed up in 1999 in Bangalore. There was a company called Revving. They were making production-ready passenger cars back in 1999. India was among the first few countries in the world that had something like that. Didn't work. Why? I think all the vehicles that we have are built for this kind of an infrastructure. Wonderful roads, moving cars, green, everything. The reality is very different. This is the reality. heterogeneous traffic, overcrowded streets. This is a reality. Potholes, dust, pebbles, waterlogging. There's waterlogging in front of Rashtrapati Bhavan. It's a fact. I'm not trying to belittle my country. I love the country. I came back from the US to be here. This is another reality. Overloading. It's prevalent. Whenever we design something for our country, we have to be cognizant of these things, and hence Altigreen started by first doing R&D in all the components that make electric vehicles work. Motors, controllers, DC-DC harnesses, the entire stack, battery management systems. Back in 2012, 2013, you'll be happy to know we sit on 29 global patents that have been granted to us. Not applied for, not filed for. These are patents that have been granted to your country for the work that we've done in electric vehicles. All happening in India, all happening in Bangalore. So we built all these, great, so we have components. But where do we go from here? We had to transform ourselves and decide that if we really wanted to push the agenda for electrification, we needed to create vehicles ourselves. So we did a lot of study, what kinds of vehicles would convert to EVs first. Would it be passenger vehicles, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers? And what did we find? We found that the humble three-wheeler was the one we needed to attack. Why? Because 40 crore people, 400 million people access a three-wheeler every day in our country. 400 million every day in our country, passenger or cargo. If I want to make a difference in my country, I have to start at the bottom end of the pyramid. That's where we need to start, and hence we decided to focus all our technology and all our efforts in making very good, very efficient electric three-wheelers that would really work for the people who are driving. And we created very good vehicles. And these vehicles are number one in the country. We did a lot of work in making it happen. We launched these back in 2021. They've been around for the last 3 years. We're now in 56 cities. The important thing, when I built these, I'm building it to change the psychology of the guy who's driving the auto rickshaw also. If you think about it, when was the last time we ever respected an auto rickshaw driver? Honestly. I think the only time we respect an auto rickshaw driver is when there's a strike of auto rickshaws in the city. That's when we all become, "Arey bhaiya, please, please, please." Until then, we don't. I wanted to make sure they have a sense of pride when they're driving a three-wheeler, and hence the kind of showrooms we've built. These are showrooms where they get a clean bathroom, where they get a place where they can see their vehicles getting serviced, where they feel proud that this is the place where they bought an electric vehicle. If you see a diesel three-wheeler showroom, you'll be surprised. It looks like a go-down. It's a fact. We wanted to make sure that our vehicles are so good that there would be uptime all the time. Any kind of downtime for an electric vehicle means that you're losing money. And when you're losing money, it's really, really bad for a person whose livelihood depends on the vehicle. And hence, we made sure that we use technology, a lot of AI, machine language and all that going into our vehicles to predict failures, potential failures. That's why amongst the first in the country to have a 98.4% uptime for our vehicles. The industry average is 90. 98.4% uptime for a three-wheeler. In fact, it's not a big passenger car, lakhs and lakhs of rupees. No, it's not. A lot of focus on quality. This is our production plant. I don't think you've seen a three-wheeler unit that goes through a tube light area where it can look for all kinds of damages in paint and all that. I want them to feel proud of their possession. They're working for the planet, they're helping the planet, why not? And hence a lot of quality that goes into it. A lot of work that we put into it. Really, we're working with institutions like the IISc and ISI Kolkata, working on data, creating new kinds of products and technology. In fact, today we have the fastest charging three-wheeler in the world. It charges in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Even a Tesla doesn't charge that fast. 15 minutes, 100-kilometer range, happening in India as we speak. I wanted to end with this. Every three-wheeler, you save 4 tons of CO2 every year. That's equated CO2, right? Every time there's a saving of 7,500 rupees per month, I've just split it into what it can mean for the third auto rickshaw driver. These are the same guys who are not allowed to drop people when they go to 5-star hotels. They'll stop you outside. I would imagine it happens here too. I don't think they allow an auto rickshaw inside. But it's about time we started respecting these guys. They're the ones making change happen. 400 million a day. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.